What's up, guys? Hey, welcome into the program. Let's get ready to do this thing, man, for a midweek celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. That's what we tell ourselves, at least. Let's have some fun. Getting everything up and moving here.
2 minutes till broadcast.
Hey, no guest today. You and I are just going to chit the chat. We're going to have some fun today on the program. Got a few things to cover. We're going to cover a little bit back down in Ohio as Donald Trump was in the area today. We'll talk about that. Also, who gets an insane amount of emails every day and just gets overwhelmed by them? Drives me nuts. Holy cow. All right, the Great Reset. We'll have some fun talking about that today. Also, AI. There's a new push for AI as the Biden administration centralizing the federal
1
government
minute till broadcast.
with artificial intelligence. Kind of weird. I know, a little weird. Among other things. What's up? What's up? Yeah, we're getting all the live streams going here. Welcome into a Wednesday. Hope you guys are enjoying. If you are on the live streams, then do us a favor. Like it out, share it out, leave a comment. Let's have some fun. What a scrambly kind of day today was, for sure.
30 seconds till broadcast.
All right, hang tight. About ready to go live. Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Republicans right now, the conservatives, which unfortunately, this is what we have to do every time, even after a vote where people are sick and tired of the establishment, they're sick and tired of the squeezy, middle-of-the-road, squishy kind of Republican rhinos, and we vote conservatives in, then we have to fight tooth and nail in D.C. to actually be heard within the Republican Party.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Hey, welcome into the program. What's up? Happy middle of the week for you. The post Monday, the pre Friday, the greatest day of the entire week as you get ready to get set and let's go for a brand new episode of The Voice of Reason. Welcome in. I am Andy Hooser, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on our flagship radio station. We are all over the country, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. However you watch or listen to the program, we love you to death. Welcome aboard, your Millennial General, reporting for duty like we do every single day. Good Lord, what a day it's been. As the media in an absolute frenzy, the federal government in an absolute tizzy. Now, Palestine, Ohio is like the most important place that we need to be. We're going to send the EPA out there. We're going to send FEMA out there. The Biden administration's going to come back from the Ukraine. We're going to focus on them as well. All because little old Donald Trump had to make an appearance and bring some water out there and make a statement. And now that we're getting national attention with a former president making his way out to East Palestine in Ohio, then how dare he do that? We need to make our appearance because he's making us look bad. We'll get to that here in just a minute. Welcome aboard. No guests today. You and I just chit in the chat. We're going to have some fun. Got a lot to talk about. We have that. I have some clips from Donald Trump speaking earlier today. Also, some weird news. I'm still trying to wrap my head around these. It's here. I guess we have to acknowledge that it's here and admit that it's here and find a way to cope with it or exist with it, alongside of it, or try and shun it, however we try to respond to this. But artificial intelligence, AI, it's here. Microsoft obviously has been working on their big AI thing, and if you've listened to any of their news stories, it's kind of creepy with what AI has been talking about, with coming up with its own mind to want to find ways to create new plagues to kill off humans, or to try and integrate themselves with humans, or thinking that it is a human. So there's a cause for concern. And while that's happening, Microsoft continues to push it. As CNBC reports it now, we have a new headline that the Bing, Robo Chat is moving forward to consumers. Even after it having a mind of its own and being a little bit weird and creepy, they don't care. They see the opportunity to meet against Siri on the Apple side, not to fire off any Siri phones or Apple phones across the whoever may be listening to this, but they're trying to compete with that one. And now we have the Biden administration signing executive orders regarding AI as well that we'll get to here in just a little bit as well. But first and foremost for the program, let's get into our What's Trending story of the day.
What's trending today?
You want to get those Trump bottles, I think, more than anybody else. But we're bringing a lot of water, thousands of bottles, and we have it in trucks, and we brought some on my plane today. But to that end, I'm pleased to announce that we've helped coordinate the delivery of the water and bottled water, as well as the tractor trailers full of it. We have big tractor trailers full of water. I think you're going to have plenty of water for a long time, maybe.
At least that'll get us started, at least for consumer drinking water. We talked about yesterday on the program, if you heard it, we talked about some of the manufacturing plants that really distribute and manufacture a lot of goods that we use across this nation. That's a cause for concern with them consuming and using that water that may or may not be contaminated with the water from the derailment of the train and the chemical plants. And I know people are probably sick and tired of hearing about it, but the fact that it's in an area where we use a lot of water, and we use a lot of the water for a lot of products that are shipped all over the country, from Pepsi and Coca-Cola products to Kraft, like Kraft mac and cheese, to Heinz, like Heinz ketchup, to one of the largest agricultural processing plants in the entire world, where they take grain and actually process it into what they make it into, is breads and different cereals or oatmeals or whatever the hell that they make from all of the grains that we have in the fields growing right now, plus all the local agricultural farmers. We have a Tyson chicken plant there as well. The manufacturing is endless in the Cincinnati area and the surrounding region, where there's a lot of blue-collar workers. There are a lot of individuals that depend on that Ohio River that may or may not be contaminated with that chemical in the Ohio River from that derailment of the train. FEMA came out and officially said that, well, it's not really the big criteria. It doesn't really meet our standards to be considered an emergency, so therefore we're not going to send resources down to the area. The EPA has sent a couple of agents to interview individuals who said that their animals or pets got sick, that they have felt sick, to make sure everything's okay, but not that big of a deal. You can continue doing what you do. And yesterday we read the headline of the two stories, the tale of two stories in the two media outlets, one saying that it's okay for Cincinnati to continue using water from the Ohio River. The other one saying, even though they've been cleared to do so, that the city has decided to hold off on that because they're not concerned. Now it's like usual, and it makes us sad, doesn't it? Usually when there's a crisis, we would gather around, we would band together, we would find a way to find common ground and go solve the issue. We don't need to play politics. There's not an issue here where, when humans' lives are at stake, we set the politics aside, we find common ground, and we go and do just what's right. Nowadays, really since 9/11, the last time that we saw strong unity after a natural disaster or after some type of disaster that happened, not to say 9/11 was natural in any way, shape, or form, but in some type of disaster where a community is devastated, we would set politics aside and find unity. I'll never forget, and I say this all the time, the one thing I remember being in 7th grade watching 9/11 actually happen was the unity that we saw in New York City, and the only controversy that we had at that time was the amount of bumper stickers that were being put on light poles and poles all over the city that had the American flag on it that were causing littering issues. That was the problem we had then. Now, you can't get anybody to agree on anything, and it's being used for political means no matter what. We have Biden out there in Ukraine, in Kiev, talking with Volodymyr Zelensky and how we're going to pay for the pension plans of all the Ukrainian citizens out there, when we can't get the proper emergency response from FEMA or the EPA out to East Palestine in Ohio until Donald Trump, of course, comes out here and makes his statement that he did earlier today.
19 days ago, tragedy struck this wonderful village and rocked the lives of people throughout this area, long beyond this area. It's been weeks since Americans have been inspired. They've just watched this over the weeks. They've been inspired by your strength and your courage and how you've come together to stand up for the families in your area and the families of this village and beyond. We've seen the first responders and railroad workers serving bravely in the line of duty. The railroad workers have been really incredible, actually, and they've gone way above the call of duty.
Can I just make an observation for a second? Most of us, enjoyed Donald Trump. We enjoyed him as president of the United States, probably way better. Everybody that's listening to the program probably admits in some way, shape, or form, even if they don't like Trump, that he's way better than what Joe Biden is right now. Has Donald Trump lost a bit of his mojo? Has he lost a bit of his energy? He was pretty monotone throughout most of his 15-minute speech today. Not saying it was bad. He said the right things, but it was kind of just like a monotone kind of thing. Is he getting older? Is he starting to get a little tired? What's going on here? Nothing bad against him, just making an interesting observation for sure. Donald Trump, now I know the other side yelling out there, well, Donald Trump is just a political stunt for him. Of course it is. He's running for president and he wants to be in the action. At the same time, you would think any politician who wants to be in the limelight to actually try and help American citizens would be out there doing what they want to do. But instead, while we have Donald Trump bringing bottles of water in to help individuals in East Palestine, we have local politicians who have cleared it and everything's okay. They're, according to Vice.com, they're trying to make a point by saying that they're drinking the water to prove that it's safe after the conspiracy theories from all of us on the right side of being concerned that the water is still polluted in some way, shape, or form from the chemicals, as politicians from Ohio and elsewhere are trying to prove the water in East Palestine is safe enough to drink by chugging it. More than 2 weeks after the massive Norfolk Southern freight train carrying the toxic chemicals derailed, spilling 5 rail cars of toxic vinyl chloride and forcing local agencies to light a, quote, controlled burn to avoid the explosion, politicians have started flocking into the town for a performative tasting test. I wonder what kind of filters they have on those sinks to run it in there and start drinking it. But nonetheless, the politicians now, they're all about it. Now, they may not have seen the video from J.D. Vance where he was scraping the riverbed and everything just turned into like a rainbow with all these crazy colors, because that's what happens when chemicals are in the actual water. But now it's the not really caring whether it's actually okay or not okay for individuals in the community. It's really about the political stunt. Everything's fine. Donald Trump's bad. And oh, by the way, it wouldn't have happened if he would have if he wouldn't have deregulated the industry with the trains, which had nothing to do with an actual braking on the train for it to derail. Or they're saying everything's fine. You guys are making a big deal out of this. Don't try and look at Pete Buttigieg or Joe Biden or the Democrats right now, or even the Department of Transportation or the EPA, because it's really not that big of a deal. Donald Trump, however, taking a shot at the Biden administration because, well, he had an opportunity to actually do so.
What this community needs now are not excuses and all of the other things you've been hearing, but answers and results, and that's what I think you're going to say. Norfolk Southern needs to fulfill its responsibilities and obligations, and I see that they're starting to come here now, too, because they also were saying they're not coming. But it means that the affected communities beyond the borders of East Palestine are going to be taken care of, and they've said so, and they've said it loud and clear, and I think they probably mean it. I sincerely hope that when your representatives and all of the politicians get here, including Biden, they get back from touring Ukraine, that he's got some money left over, because we're now at $117 billion, and as you probably know, Europe, when you add it all up, is at about $10 billion. That's a big difference, wouldn't you say?
Kind of a big deal. There you go. His nice little jab with Biden going over to Ukraine. Here's the thing, and this is my optimism for the day, because I know this is a frustrating story. You've heard a lot about it. We're feeling helpless at times. What can we do? The Biden administration's completely ignoring half of the needs of the American people. They're focusing on other issues that don't have much to do with the American people, whether it's Russia and Ukraine and Volodymyr Zelensky and paying for the pension plans and the reinvestment over there in the Ukraine, or whether it's identity politics issues, or whether it's Green New Deal issues that really aren't the biggest priorities for most Americans, because we just want to be able to live. We want the economy to get back to normal. We want inflation to go down. We want prices of eggs to get back to somewhat normal. We don't need to buy $4 cartons of eggs. Just throwing it out there, Joe Biden. We want to focus on normal, rational things. And sometimes we feel helpless because we have very little control over what the federal government does. And we're frustrated when they focus on things that are not important. The beauty of state governments is that they focus on things usually that affect the people in the states, which is why you have a larger say. You can go and talk to your state legislator. You can go to your legislative session. You can actually call upon and actually speak to them during different committees and what's going on. You can present bills. You can talk to your legislators about presenting bills. Very difficult to do so at the federal level. But the beauty of this, the positive side, the eternal optimism that's showing out to me is right now, we are in a time with the information overload, the information wave that is the interweb and everything that we can hear and see and communicate with people all over the world, is that no longer can there be major cover-ups. We joked about Aaron Brockovich going out there and seeing East Palestine in the coming days as well. Remember the gal that made the movie, and she talked about covering up about the chemical spills and the company that was spilling chemicals into the river and the water and making people sick. Yeah, no longer can those types of things actually happen, and we just shrug and say, we don't know what you're talking about, and we're just not going to investigate it and just try and cover it up. Those don't happen anymore. Because now we have the interweb, we have social media, we have ways to let people know, hey, you can say it's not bad, but I'm getting sick. My pets are dying. Things are happening here. I can literally see chemicals floating around in the water right now. So try and cover it up. But guess what, politicians that have been there since the 1970s? Your days in politics are over.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends, or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners, and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. 24 minutes past the hour. By the way, the response from the EPA is kind of sad. You can tell they don't want to touch this issue with a 10-foot pole. It really is kind of pathetic. So the Trump administration goes down there to bring down water, to see what's going on, to make a press conference, to bring light to what's going on when the media, when the government, when the Biden administration, EPA, FEMA, they haven't wanted to touch it. It's not a big deal. We burnt it off. Everything's all good. Don't worry about all the nice little rainbows in the river and the creeks that are going down there that you use for agriculture, for nature, and for the animals, or for the processing, or for even the drinking water within the city. The politicians having their little parties. I'm going to drink the water and show you that it's totally safe. Cool. Then when you have cancer in 10 years, you remember where that actually came from. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but good golly, like at least let's have a rational conversation about these things, which is what I think most people are desperately wanting on any of these issues. Instead of just political posturing, just have a conversation. There's a legitimate concern if I lived in that area of saying, hey, is this truly okay for me to drink? Is it truly okay for me to go and take a deep breath outside and not have a big mushroom cloud of chemicals outside in the air? Is it okay for my animals to be out there? If it is, then let's have the conversation and say, you know what? I totally understand your concerns. Totally understand your hesitations. I strongly believe that this is okay because of X, Y, and Z. And look, come with me. We'll show you the testing. Not trust us. We're the government. It doesn't work that way. But after the Trump administration went down there today, the EPA has said that they are going to send individuals down and they're going to do something about it with a deeper investigation. And what are they going to do? They're going to make the railroad company come down and be responsible for it by doing the cleanup efforts. That's, I mean, now I'm glad they are. They needed to. They should. That's their responsibility. If their train got derailed, they need to take responsibility for it. But even they themselves said, no, we really don't want to do that. There's not an issue. The government's cleared it. We're fine. So they've stepped away, and the EPA, in their great responsibility of authority, they've said, you guys are going to do this. They're not going down and doing anything more. They're just saying, hey, Norfolk, you need to come down and take care of this. That's their guidance. That's their grand scheme of things right now, and it's kind of sad. So you can see, again, their lack of interest in this issue, and it's kind of pathetic. Now, here's the greater discussion to be had here. There's a greater response. And the greater issue is the fact that I think this is the beginning of, we talk about the Great Reset during the COVID-19 pandemic. There's a greater issue here. And the greater issue is the fact that we have a major crony capitalist system. We love capitalism, as you know. Laissez-faire markets, capitalism, free markets, supply and demand, consumers. We like that. But when the crony capitalism happens, you get so big that the only way that you expand is through a government grant. The only way you breach into new markets is when you have the government support. The only way that you actually make a profit is when the government's actually aiding you and giving you the tax breaks, but nobody else the tax breaks. That is called crony capitalism, and I think it's on its way to fail. And I guess we can thank the Biden administration for that, because they are so ingrained themselves personally in crony capitalism that they are ready to bring it out to the forefront so much that it's going to be exposed and to crumble. And just as we went into the previous break, showing that right now they can't try to cover things up any longer. It's not going to work. You can't cover up these issues anymore. You can try to bring back the 1970s style politics, but it's just not going to work anymore. Because guess what? Now we have the interweb. Now we have social media. Now we have communication outside of just our tiny little community. So when you try to go back to business as normal, focusing on your special interest, not caring about anybody else or anything else, guess what? It's not going to happen. You can't do it any longer. So bring it out, expose it, because this is going to be, you want to talk about a great reset. The great reset is going to be our markets coming back to the local level, producers finding opportunities at the local level to supply an issue or a product or a demand that's needed in the local community. And then we don't have to worry about these things anymore, because they can't control you when things are not centralized in one singular location. Eternal optimism, baby. That's what I'm all about. Right back here on The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. When I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the Voice of Reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world, and it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you, but what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this, but the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit by no means. However, you know, we talked about it, and I thought, you know, our ancestors were so smart. They know, like, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw, natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while. And people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people try
It's been marketed
something.
to them that way too.
It
They're like,
has.
oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
My leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Right.
dude, your leg is still severely broken. You just can't feel anything.
yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, you know, just
Mentally and physically.
yes. Well, I mean, you know, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all
now.
getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that, you know, my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's
Yeah.
that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right it is. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today. All over the place, multiple radio stations, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen to the show. We always love you to death and appreciate you coming on the program. So the great reset happening before our eyes. The government wanting to focus on the global, the big stuff, the big kahunas, but yet now want to focus on the domestic front here as we have the continued ongoing issue with East Palestine, the chemicals being spilled there. We'll talk some more about that here in just a little bit. Is Donald Trump out there today taking some jabs at the establishment?
Biden and FEMA said they would not send federal aid to East Palestine under any circumstance. They're not going to send aid. I thought that was a strange statement because I've been working with FEMA for a long time, 4 years, and they were great with us with the tornadoes, the hurricanes, and things like this. And it was a strange statement to come out, and they were doing nothing for you. They were intending to do absolutely nothing for you. JD and I spoke, and they said, they're not coming. They're not going to come. And I said, that's very strange. FEMA said, specifically, this doesn't meet the criteria, and that's horrible, and somebody has to do something for those people. I said back, when I announced that I was coming, they changed their tune. It was an amazing phenomena.
You miss those? You miss those long rambling stories from Donald Trump? I find those quite entertaining. At least he knows how to pronunciate and speak sometimes. Nowadays, we have Joe Biden that just can't remember his name half the time. So there is that as well. Let's get into what's trending. What do you say?
What's trending today?
We'll get back to that story here in just a little bit, but I want to shift gears as well. While we have a domestic crisis, and yes, I would like to call that a crisis in Ohio with what's going on, the concerns of drinking water, the water used for production, the water used for the city of Cincinnati and other places around the area as well, agriculturally producing, Coca-Cola and Pepsi and everything else that you may be drinking. That is a cause for concern. I would call that a crisis, but there's constant crises in this country. Between that, the 7% inflation, the fentanyl crisis coming over our southern border, the mass flood of individuals coming over the borders, that is a cause for concern in this country, to where most all Americans, except for the fringe crazies on the other side, are screaming, hey, we probably need to lock things down here because we don't want the cartels to be causing havoc up here like they are down in the country of Mexico and other places as well. To talk about some more of this and more, what can we do about this? Because obviously the Biden administration does not want to do a whole lot about it. They've stopped and halted any building of the walls. We're not enforcing any of our stuff. In fact, the only way we're hinging on our immigration policy is through Title 42, which was a COVID pandemic executive order from the Biden administration, instead of just enforcing our regular immigration policy as well. Happy to have on the program with us here. He's the vice president of Numbers USA, which you can find online at numbersusa.org. Excited to have on here Jeremy Beck with us. Jeremy, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Andy.
Yeah, excited to have you on the program. What a great conversation, because this is, again, the crises, which is sad. I don't like to look at the negative in the country. I'm always the eternal optimist, but there's a lot of concern, especially with the things that are being brought over in the country, isn't there?
Yeah, well, one of the things that is a result, a byproduct of not enforcing our immigration laws and having a sort of a de facto open border, is that our personnel down there, they're limited in numbers, and when they are completely occupied with processing people, that means that they're not available to do other important work, and the cartels have taken full advantage of that. Human smuggling is now a $20 billion business, and frankly, we've helped make it that way. I think it was just reported that 10,000 cartel drones were detected crossing the U.S. border last year. Wow. That's the state of the situation, and it really does go back to the people. It's a chaotic mess. That the system is overwhelmed. The agents are overwhelmed. We cannot afford to continue to permit 900,000 people a year to enter illegally and then release them into the country with work permits. On top of that, 600,000 enter illegally and avoid apprehension altogether. And then aside from the border, you have another 500,000 or so people every year overstaying a visa and remaining in the country illegally. And all of that, especially those last two categories, the visa overstays and the people who enter without apprehension, they are able to stay in the country because they're able to find illegal employment. Mm-hmm. And that is has long been one of the key factors in illegal immigration. Now, the cartels are nefarious, but most of the people who are crossing are just trying to look for economic opportunity. And they do a cost-benefit analysis. And they say, is it worth it to put my life savings into the hands of a human smuggler, to risk my life, the life of my loved ones? And if I get to the United States, A, am I going to get in? And B, am I going to be able to make some money? And right now, the answer to both of those questions is yes. And that is why we have the situation that we have today.
Yeah, that is very true. Now, we're seeing, at least I don't hear as much about them, of businesses doing a sweep through and finding individuals that are, quote unquote, illegal or working and trying to do busts or arresting any individuals. I'm not hearing about those stories anymore. There is legislation now at the federal level regarding the E-Verify system for all U.S. employers to actually have an E-Verify system. But is it a top priority, do you think, right now with the split Congress that we have, with businesses to focus on making sure people are coming and doing the steps the right way, or are they trying to just put this stuff on the back burner?
Well, it definitely should be a top priority. And as for whether or not it is, I think you hit the nail on the head. We have decades of experience of bipartisan lip service for this E-Verify and bipartisan failure to pass it. Now, some of that is on us as citizens and voters. We need to put pressure on our elected officials to say, we want this. And all of the polling says that voters do. Voters across the political spectrum, across economic spectrum, across the racial spectrum. People think this is a common sense, reasonable solution. And this goes back, again, when they were studying illegal immigration back in the early 1980s, They had a blue ribbon federal commissions look at it. They said the key factor is the workplace. That's why most people come. And if you don't secure that, you're going to have an insecure border, and then you can get other bad actors coming into the mix. Well, in the 1986 amnesty, we all remember that. That was the big trade-off. It was going to be a one-time amnesty for enforcement. And part of that enforcement was they made it illegal to hire somebody who was in the country illegally. It sounds kind of silly, but it was kind of a common sense thing that they put in that bill. But we've basically had an honor system since then, where it's illegal to hire somebody illegally, but you don't really have to verify whether they are here, whether they're authorized to work in the United States or not. We have a 20th century paper system called the I-9 form. If you hire somebody, they write down their name, they write down their social security number, or at least a series of numbers, and they hand it over to you. And if you're the employer, you don't know if those numbers are a real social security number or not. It's not really your job to know. You take that piece of paper, you put it in a filing cabinet, and you close the door, and nobody knows. Well, we have this system. It's been around for 25 years. It's online. It works. And that's all it does, is it verifies this is a real person, this is a real social security number, and yes, they are authorized to work in the United States. And that alone would be just such a major deterrent if every business in the country were using it. It's the whole trust but verify thing, but with immigration policy.
Exactly. It makes common sense. I think, like you said, everybody would concur that they agree with this. Now, are we seeing an influx right now? The Biden administration says that they're trying to close off the southern border, but if you go back to your native country and then apply for asylum or apply to move here, then we're going to accept, like 30 or 40,000 a month or whatever he said he was going to, which was about the same as what we were seeing a month coming just over the border willy-nilly. Is that encouraging more individuals to come here, putting pressure on this type of system, saying that we need this even more now than ever before?
Well, you're right. We're seeing kind of a Houdini, a shell game where they're playing with the numbers and basically trying to make illegal immigration less visible, but they're not trying to reduce it. And as you said, they're flying people over instead of having them cross into illegally, and then they're counting that in a different column and saying it's not really illegal immigration. It's more kind of quasi-legal immigration. And some of those people, like I said, are getting work permits. And E-Verify is not going to change that. It should be clear. It's not a silver bullet. We also have to address the illegal abuse of parole authority. When people are apprehended at the border, they're supposed to be detained, even while they await their hearing or asylum hearing or whatever. And the government's allowed to release people on a case-by-case basis if there's a particular case to do so. But what this administration has done is basically said, we're basically going to release everybody. And in many cases, hand them a work permit too, which is, of course, adding to the incentive to come. However, I'll say that, again, there's 1 million people adding to the illegal immigration population every single year right now who do not have those work permits. And E-Verify would be a huge deterrent for that 1 million. Now, the 1 million that's being released by the Biden administration, that is about parole abuse. But even those part of the problem with this is that they're being released into the country and they're not going to leave. There's no plan to make them leave, even if they're denied their asylum or if they're ordered to leave. There is just no enforcement process that is engaged right now. They will stay, and eventually their work permit will run out.
Yeah.
And then they will be seeking those same illegal employment opportunities. So not only is it a deterrent for future illegal immigration, but it is a way to start chipping away at the massive failure of government over decades to really control this thing.
It was almost an intentional way to sabotage the system by overloading it so vastly that, like you said, instead of being able to detain all these people at the border until the trial, until they get their hearing, until they figure out what they're going to do with their asylum, we just overload it so vastly that we can't contain it. And then you say, well, we have to let you go because there's no way we can hold you. And then hopefully we come back to court later. And if you don't, then we'll just spend years trying to track you down and resetting different court dates for years on end, which is a complete disaster. Jeremy, we got to take a hard break here. Can you stick over one more segment with us?
Sure can.
Awesome. I appreciate it. I want to talk about moving forward with this, on how we implement this. Are some businesses already using this, and how do we move forward trying to clean up the system? Because it is so overwhelmed that it's kind of just shocked itself into shutting down, and it's absolute chaos in the system right now. So we'll do that when we come back here. Also, some of the other big government programs that we have ongoing as we speak. It's all that and more for a midweek celebration. It's the Voice of Reason. Stay right here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently, as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Looking for more reason? Well, now you can get even more content from the Voice of Reason through our Patreon site. It's your exclusive membership for being the ultimate Hoosier-holic. On our Patreon, you'll get additional interviews and content that we don't get to air on the radio, behind-the-scenes action from the Hooser Media Network, plus one-on-one video streams where you can catch up with me, guests of the show, and other great Voice of Reason supporters. Plus, you can also support the show by checking out our gear and swag. Find the link on our website at HooserReason.com. Again, that's HooserReason.com. Become the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the Voice of Reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like, so you can watch all their live streaming content, including ours right here with the Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of the Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hooser Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hooser Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, OurFreedomBook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle, as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is the Voice of Reason.
fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
All right, it is. Welcome back into the program. I want to tell you real quickly about my friends over at OpsLens. As you know, they host our online streaming for the show for all your live streams, YouTube, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok. Not TikTok, I don't believe. I have a TikTok, but you can find it Hooser Reason. Facebook page, YouTube page, the Tweety page, whatever. You can find me at Hooser Reason. Also with OpsLens. They also have their website, opslens.com, OPSLENS.com. You can watch the video stream there on their app. They have a new feature, and I highly recommend you go and check it out. It's really awesome. No matter what the news is, we've been talking about the train derailment going on in Ohio with the chemical spill there. There's other issues, obviously, with Russia and the Ukraine. The outside media, outside of the United States, is saying that the chemical spill in Ohio is our Chernobyl. It's that bad, is what they're calling it in foreign media. We're not hearing that because our mainstream media is ignoring it and saying, oh, it's fine. And we're politically posturing with politicians trying to go down there and drink the water and having parties of drinking water and showing how safe the water actually is, which if that's the case, that's cool. Then when you grow a tumor in a week, then I'm kidding. Regardless, the mainstream media has a different take than what some of the world media has out there as well. If you want to see what's really going on, not just in the U.S., but around the world, OpsLens has a new feature called their OpsLens World View. Go to opslens.com, OPSLENS. You can find the World View. All you have to do is type in the keywords that you're looking for, whatever type of flavor, whatever topic, whatever political issue you want to see. You type it in, and it brings up news articles that are unbiased from both sides of the aisle, blogs, websites, stories, whatever that they find on that topic from everywhere all over the world. It's an awesome news source. They've just launched it this week. Go to opslens.com, find the World View. If you sign up now, you get 7 days free. Type in the promo code VOR10. That's the Voice of Reason, 10. You get 10% off when you sign up as well. You'll get your first week for free, and you'll get your 10% off here with our Voice of Reason code. Go to VOR10, type in that promo code at opslens.com, and get that promo code. Get signed up, because if you want to stay informed, you want that information wave, and you don't want to lose track of what's really going on outside of what the mainstream establishment media is trying to lie to you about here, go check it out, opslens.com. We got a couple minutes left here. We're hanging out with Jeremy Beck, the Vice President of Numbers USA, which you can find at numbersusa.org, as we talk about the E-Verify system and with immigrants coming into the country, trying to find a way to actually regulate and know what the hell's going on in our society. Jeremy, are businesses already using this voluntarily, or is this something that we need to force through the government right now? How is this working as it stands today?
They are using it voluntarily. As I said, before, it's illegal to hire somebody who's in the country illegally as of 1986. As of 1996, every employer in the country has the ability to verify that their employees are authorized to work, but it's voluntary. But there are patchwork laws throughout the country at the state level. Some of it's limited E-Verify, some of it's statewide E-Verify. So we've been using this system for over 25 years now, which is why we know that it's accurate and we know that it works. In Arizona, they passed an E-Verify law in 2008, and illegal presence declined by about a third. Now, some people moved to other states, but some people moved back home. But a nationwide E-Verify would really just kind of pull the plug on illegal hiring and allow enforcement agencies to really focus on the true bad actors. So yes, it is voluntary. It needs to be required. All it does is verify the information that's already required by law, and it just kind of gives up this wink-wink game where we're pretending to enforce the laws at the workplace, but not really doing it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, we have a driver's license, we have our social security number, and when someone tries to do a background check on us, they punch in that information, and unfortunately, even though I don't like having a centralized database of everybody, it pulls up all of my information that I've ever done in my life, including probably now my social media posts, text messages, and emails as well. But yet, for some reason, we have a hard time verifying if someone who is not from the country, whether they have ill intent or whether they're here legally or whether they have good intention. For some reason, we have a hard time with that concept, and I just don't get that. Jeremy, we got about 30 seconds here, but go ahead and close out this conversation.
Great, thanks, Paul. Just to pick up one thing you said there, E-Verify does not create any new databases. As you say, all that information is there. It's required by law. All it does is verify it. That's it. It's not a system. It's not a new tracking database or anything like that. Just verifies it. So E-Verify, H.R. 319 in the House. We have a new House Republican majority right now. They've made a lot of promises coming in, And if you want to verify whether or not a Republican member of the House really cares about the border, check and see if they're sponsoring this E-Verify bill.
It's what it's all about, my friend. Jeremy Beck, Vice President, Numbers USA, numbersusa.org. Jeremy, I appreciate it. Great information, my friend. We got to get you back on again soon.
Be my pleasure. Take care now.
Hey, you as well. Appreciate that. Good stuff. That's how you do it for the middle of the week, baby. Back at it again tomorrow for the pre-Friday celebration. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change in your own community. Let's be that catalyst for change all around. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information